Our students have a lot on their plates. From all that's happening at school to everything else that's going on in their lives and in the world around them, stress has become a lingering part of every moment of their lives. As an educator, I wanted to ask myself, how can we help students manage stress? First and foremost, my answer needed to be simple and straightforward so that it would be easy to implement in the classroom. Second, it needed to be applicable so that students could integrate it both inside and outside of school. Finally, it had to become a part of a routine, something that students knew they could always expect when they came to class. I decided to look up some different ways to manage stress in the classroom, and after doing some research, I thought breathing exercises and journaling would be something simple and applicable that could become a part of a routine. Now, some smart folks before me had already done research on both breathing and journaling. Robin Buckler from Western Michigan University found breathing exercises to have the most significant use by students, while Carol Flinchbaugh and her team of researchers from the University of Kansas found gratitude journaling to be the most meaningful in the classroom. And so my professional inquiry project was born as I sought out an answer to my guiding question: to what extent do breathing exercises and journaling impact student wellness? My research began on October 4th, when I had all my students fill out an initial wellness survey. The experimental period of breathing and journaling lasted for 7 weeks, with everything wrapping up on November 22nd with the final post-inquiry survey. In the initial survey, I measured for students' self-reported stress levels, with 1 being not stressed and 10 being highly stressed. The average stress levels for my grade 9s came out to be 6.36, while the grade 10s reported a 6.25. When measuring students' stress management, the class average for grade 9s was 5.7, while the grade 10s were at a 6. After putting stress levels and stress management together, I realized that my focus would not be on these kids, as their stress management levels exceeded their stress levels. My target group would actually be these kids, as their stress levels were far beyond their stress management levels. I was especially worried about these kids, who had a large gap in how stressed they were and how well they were managing their stress. To give you a bit more information on my target group, let's take a closer look at my grade 9 class. While the class average on stress levels is at 6.36, my target group stress levels are at 7.2. And for stress management, the class is at 5.7, while the target group's management levels are below the class average at 3.6. This disparity was quite alarming, and it helped me to focus my research on helping these kids manage their stress better. When it came to what caused my students stress, their responses were what I expected: school-related stress such as exams, studying, grades, classes, sports, and starting a new school, to issues with friends, family, home life, managing expectations, and even illness factored into students' stress levels. How students responded to stress was not too much of a surprise either. Fidgeting, watching videos, listening to music, going to the bathroom to cool down, taking some deep breaths, playing video games, making jokes, closing your eyes for a moment, tapping your collarbone, or a simple walk was how some students responded to stress. However, what was shocking was that 61% of students responded to stress by just ignoring it, not doing anything, keeping silent about it, or just not knowing what to do. With this knowledge in mind, my PIP officially launched in my classrooms. The grade 9 started off by drawing their breath for the first couple of weeks, and then we tried turning off the lights, closing our eyes, and doing some free breathing. And we finally ended the last couple of weeks with some guided meditation. In the final survey, the grade 9s indicated that they preferred free breathing over other methods. For my grade 10s, we started each class by writing down the date, and the students had the choice of responding to a daily prompt, free writing, or drawing in their notebooks. They had 3 minutes of just quiet journaling time. I was totally aware that there was a possibility that the following could happen. "Oh, this is so boring. oh, why do we have to do this? Oh, this is stupid. So I made sure to be proactive and tell students why I was trying this with them. And, well, for the most part, it wasn't as bad as I thought. To be more specific, the breathing worked really well, which was totally surprising. But the journaling, not so much. Let me talk about why the journaling failed. First, the timing was off. I should have started journaling from the very first day of school in September, but because I suddenly introduced it in October, the kids were thrown off and had a harder time accepting it into our routine. 2. Familiarity. For most, if not all of my students, they had never really journaled in the past. It was something new that they had never done, and so it was met with a lot of resistance. They just weren't comfortable or familiar with writing down their thoughts and feelings, so it was hard to win them over. And finally, 3, relevance. I could see this working really well in English class or comm class, but it was harder to connect the themes that we explored in our journals to social studies content that we would be learning about. So there was little sense of continuity between journaling and the start of that day's class. One good thing to come out of journaling was that some of the kids, even those who didn't like the journaling part, liked the quiet individual time at the start of class. This made me realize that even if it's not journaling, starting class with some quiet me time might not be a bad idea in the future. Now, for the grade 9s, the breathing worked really well because 1, it calmed them right down. Last period is a real challenge, and breathing for just a minute in the dark really grounded them and set the tone for the rest of class. And 2, everyone participated, or at least they didn't disrupt anyone if they weren't. This made sure that those who really needed this minute got it, and those who didn't really want to do the breathing could just sit there silently for a minute. Now let me show you the data that actually supports my observations. Going back on the initial survey results, we saw that the target group's average stress level was at 7.2 and that their stress management level was at 3.6. After collecting data from the final post-inquiry survey, I found that this target group's stress levels decreased to 6.5 and their stress management levels increased to 5.2. I can't say if this improvement is all because of breathing, but it's an improvement nonetheless, and I'll take it. Another interesting point was that 75% of the grade 9s reported positive associations with breathing. Let me read you some of the comments that they left me. I like how it calms you down. I liked it because we got to take a small break to take a minute to breathe. I like it because it's calming, that every class it works. It helps me forget the non-important things right now. It has helped my headache slow. I like the quietness. I like the silence and how calm it is. And I personally really like this chart that one of the students drew me. They said dislikes, yeah, there is none. And then likes, they said it eases us into class. It gives us a moment. It helps us deal with stressful situations. Here's a few more. It helps when I was angry or mad at someone. I would use the breathing method to calm myself down. When I'm in a big group, it calmed down my social anxiety. When I was taking an LA test, I got to a difficult question and started to panic, but I did the drawing breath and calmed down. And finally, yes, when I get mad, I will breathe to calm down. I really loved reading the responses that my students gave me. I know that we look a lot for quantitative data, but this qualitative data from students was really meaningful to me as well. For the future, I would like to continue implementing breathing and or journaling into my classroom routine, depending on the context of my classroom. There are so many things that demand our attention in the world today. Although we can't eliminate stress from our students' lives, I believe that a simple moment of calm and peace can make all the difference for our kids.